Going for live. Welcome back to another episode from Tailors with Love. This is the only Bond live stream, and up there, top left, I've got my man in a field, Daniel Gaster. How are we doing today, Daniel?
Good evening, Peter. I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me again.
Thanks for jumping on, my man. And also, if you're in the comments, drop us a comment, smash that like button, as the kids say. and I don't know what that means, but that happens. And bottom left, we are newcomer. We've got Mike Poplawski from the Culture of Bond. How are we doing today, Mike?
I'm doing great. I'm glad to be invited. Break up my day here.
It was a pleasure. And I think on the YouTube comments, because we mentioned your account last week, we said, oh, is anybody giving any love to Mike Poplawski at the moment? And Mike dropped a comment and said, hey, that's nice to hear my name. So,
yeah. And you missed Valentine's Day. That's why I needed the love.
Yeah, exactly. Well, also, when I added you to the email thread, I've realized there's another Mike Poplawski out there. That's also in. Do you know of him?
No, I don't. I know there's a few all over the country. They all left from New Jersey when they all immigrated, and they had their own despair all over, and it's like, never met any of them. I do get confused with Mike Poplawski.
Is that who I'm thinking of? So there's a Mike Poplawski.
Yeah. And he's from Bayonne also, and it was like funny, we wrote just off a couple of letters in our names. He was
right. He nearly got joined into the live stream, by the way, or he might be punched in later on. Who knows? He might still be coming on. And bottom right, dressed in something rather unusual for our YouTube watchers, is Thomas Felix Creighton from Flaming Never Dies. How are we doing today, Thomas?
Yo, what up? A word. How are you?
Ricky, that's confusing for everybody. Well, Thomas, give some context. What's going on with the wardrobe there?
What's going on with the wardrobe is that a few of us were talking about Bond's best disguises. So, for example, in Live and Let Die, Bond gets kitted out in some fantastic American clothes in the original novel. And we were discussing what clothes would Bond wear if he were to dress as an ordinary American today. And it was Ken at Oceanography who suggested a Boston Red Sox cap, a green hoodie, and some kind of bulky jacket. And I realized I have all of these at my disposal.
Oh, there we go. All right, so that's the rationale. I'm sorry none of us got the memo for that one, Thomas. In Thomas's defense, I did change up the team sheet last minute, and everything changed on the show notes. We've got Horev Dora in the comments saying good evening, hello Horev. But also, there's a little bit of a beeping going on in the background. I wonder if that's me or if that's you. But we'll get to the bottom of
my microphone just in case.
I think that's Thomas again.
Yeah, it's Thomas. Thomas has got the beep going on, but we'll figure that out.
I was concerned. I thought I had some kind of a warning in my house. I didn't know where it came from.
So. I know. I thought I was late for something. It sounds like an alarm going off back there.
Yeah.
But I'll leave Thomas to figure that out. That's fine. What I wanted to talk about, what I thought would be interesting, because after we saw Octopussy a couple of weeks ago, Dan, it's the first time I'd really thought about the crocodile sub. And as much as I love the scene and I love Rog inside the crocodile sub, I never really got to the bottom of what happened when he had the fight with the henchman, and then they smash through the window. He then lands one on the henchman in the water, and then this crocodile comes out of nowhere, kills the henchman, and then we cut to like Octopussy looking very mournful, hanging out the window. Oh, there goes my Bond. And then we find out that he's okay. He just turns up on the shore with Q. Unfortunately, VJ's croaked it. So a couple of things, a couple of questions. Now, did Bond, in the middle of that fight, sneak into his croc sub and then take out the henchman? Or did a random crocodile come in and take out the henchman and then Bond snuck away in his croc sub? So thoughts on that, Mike? Over to you.
Oh, I'm so bad. I said, I'm going to study. I'm going to take this out. I don't have this movie at home. I didn't look because I've got every other actor's movies. I've only got not even a handful of the Roger Moores. And Octopussy is never my favorite. So I watched the scene in the crocodile. I can't figure out Is he trading water under it? Is he inside the alligator? Is just standing there? I don't know. But the henchman part, I couldn't locate.
Right. I mean, he does scream. I mean, the henchman really does scream like he's been bit in half, but that could also be Bond, like grabbing him in certain areas. Thomas, you were there at the screening. Did you have these similar thoughts?
Yeah, because when Bond comes out of the alligator the first time, when he's going onto the island, he's dry. Whereas when he comes out of it the second time, he's wet. So I guess he must get wet when he falls into the water. So the inside of the alligator is dry. I feel there's some clue in this. Maybe Bond throws the henchman towards an actual crocodile, and his watch somehow summons the robot crocodile, scares away the real crocodile, and then he gets away using that. I'm sure he figured it out long in advance. This was carefully planned operation.
I do like to think they're having these chats on set as well. Dan, has this kept you up at night?
It's not kept me up at night, no. But thinking it through, I think it's just a bit of Bond luck. He's probably clocked the crocodile, sort of shifted around a bit just to get between the crocodile and the henchman. So he goes for the henchman, and then he swum off to find the sub.
Right. That's so okay. All right. Now, all right. Let's just say that's true. What also is bananas, and this is a classic movie trope, is that anybody that when they go into the water and they don't see him come back again, whoever's watching is only watching what the camera person is allowing them to watch. So Maud Adams and all of her girls behind it, leaning out the window, are only watching like a 4x4 feet stretch of water. They don't have the whole breadth of the water to look at and see Bond crawl out of the dock, and just out of breath on the pier or anything like that. No, all they can do is focus on that tiny square patch of water where the cameraman's focused on. And second off, what I also thought, when Bond does get ashore and speaks to Q, the first thing he asks is, "Oh, how's VJ?" And Q's like, "Oh, not so good. Yeah, no more problems." When your first thing be to Q, like, you wouldn't believe what happened back there at the palace. I knocked the crap out of this guy. We went flying through the window, and then this croc came out of nowhere, took him out. I got into my sub, and here I am. That would be the first thing. That would be the absolute first thing that you say. But yeah, it did get me thinking, as many things do.
I'm imagining, what if Q were to say something like, "You're not wearing crocodile shoes this time." back in that Caribbean island when you ran over the crocodiles, you were wearing crocodile shoes, and that's very maybe Bond realized he didn't quite match. His clothing didn't match it, so it's like, I better not mention this to Q. He'll point out their shoes.
Yeah,
maybe he didn't have a bootmaker nearby to fix the sole for this mission.
That's probably the case. Yeah, I do like those. Oh, by the way, Ken Stoffer's in the group. You're going to get hate mail from Boston, Thomas. That's a White Sox cap.
That's okay. I've spent my whole life not going to Boston.
Thomas, we've lost all of our Boston contingent. And Mark over at Dress to Frill says, "Evening, gents." Well, let's get on to some news, shall we, guys? Oh, before the news, Michael, did you have a question that you want to ask the audience, and then we can perhaps reveal the answer at the end?
Sure. You want me to post this?
That's okay. You can read it out loud.
Okay. Well, basically, Bond, this is literary. I'm a big literary Bond guy. Bond hated pajamas. So what were his two choices to sleep in?
Oh, decent question there. I got the feeling that Casino Royale had a good long chapter on his pajamas, I seem to remember. But we'll get into that. And if you guys know, then leave a comment in the chat, and then Mike will reveal all at the end. But how about we crack on with a little bit of news, shall we?
Gentlemen and ladies, hold the presses. This just in. Gentlemen and ladies, hold the presses. This just in.
Yep. Got double.
I always look forward to that clip.
Yeah, I know. I do like
doubly.
Double news. This news is brought to you by Savile Row Gin Experience. We're partnering with them this month. The art of bespoke gin making and tailoring come together in the heart of London's Mayfair, Savile Row style. Your journey begins by being greeted by your host at our meeting place, the entrance of number 14 Savile Row. And if you know where Hackett is on Savile Row, that's where they are. Formerly the headquarters of Sir Hardy Amy's, dressmaker to the Queen Elizabeth II for over 50 years. You'll be welcomed with a refreshing gin and tonic in the Pink Room, where you'll also enjoy an insight into the art of fine bespoke tailoring. And head over to Savile Row Gin Experience.co.uk and find out more about that. Dan, what we got in the news first up?
So news from 007 store this week is on Scale Extract. There's nothing else that they've got at the moment.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So they've introduced a new Scale Extract set, which is the DB5 with a V8 Vantage edition, but they're also selling individualized cars for your tracks. So you've got the DB5 from Goldfinger. You've got the Lotus Esprit in both car and submarine, as well as the red one from For Your Eyes Only, as well as the DB5, the V8 Vantage from the Living Daylights with the skis on the side, which I think is a nice touch.
Very nice touch. Yeah. Mike, you got thoughts on Scale Electrics?
We'll say again?
You got thoughts on these? Will you be buying this?
I'm thinking of it. You know, I had a set way back as a kid. They were fun. I got grandkids. I think they would enjoy this. I can pull them into the James Bond experience at the same time.
So you're going for a market and you're going, right, grandkids, I can get them in this way.
Yeah. They're starting to catch on to something strange about Granddad.
Mike, you know what this is? This is Homer buying Marge the bowling ball for her birthday, right? I mean, you're really buying yourself the present. Yeah, with Homer written on it.
Yeah, time to get off the Hot Wheels and get to real racing with them.
Thomas, will this be set up in your house?
As if it's already not.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I like the fact you took a break from it just to join us on the live stream.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, yeah.
Just as a question, I think I've never been to David Zaritsky's Bond dungeon, but doesn't he have a set up in the middle of it?
Good question. I'll have to ping him a question on the WhatsApp.
I know he's got a set, but I don't think he keeps it up all the time. But I could be wrong.
You've been down there, Mike, to David's house?
I've been there a few times. Oh yeah. That was my intro to the whole Bond fandom. Like 12 years ago, I got this email from a guy I kind of knew on the AJB 007. Come to my house for a Christmas party. It's December. I'm like, I don't know this guy. Okay, I'll do it. Go to his house, knocked on the door. He opened it up. He looked at me up and down. He goes, "Literary Bond." I could tell. I was like, "That's it." And it always
nice. Which is your handle on the AJB forum?
Yeah. I don't remember because I haven't done it for so long because everything else became Instagram and all that. So I don't really go to it too often anymore. I think I use my basic name on there.
Wow. Okay. So you packed up, you flew over to David's gaff and then got a hotel nearby. How does it work?
No, he's only about a little over an hour away drive.
Oh, okay. Oh, so awesome.
So I told my wife, I'm not going anywhere. I don't know this guy. I'm not going to some stranger's house. So I told her, if I'm back tonight, then I'm probably chopped up in some bins somewhere. I'm taking a chance. And I pulled up, saw the house, parked, walked up to the door, and there's a big wreath. And in the middle of the wreath was one of those cardboard mask cutouts of Daniel Craig's face. And I'm like, okay, this has got to be the place. And like I said, I rang the doorbell. He opened up. I even have my little attaché case with a couple of little things to bring along the show. And brought me in, introduced me, and then he said, "Oh, come, let me take you downstairs." And it was like,
that's a warning sign, isn't it?
Exactly, right? Looking around, where's the nearest exit? And I walked in. It's like a museum. It's all very artistically set up. Oh, it was like you could spend hours down there.
And then when you left, did you go in a car and then get dropped off at a trash place? Dropped into a hydraulic press.
Yeah.
Goldfinger style.
Pick her up. Yeah, it was definitely like I said, that was my introduction to actually meeting other Bond fans. And I had been doing this for I guess at that point almost 10 years without ever thinking about, other than reading, on AJB and a few other sites, the Bond Suit blogs. But I never even thought about meeting other people. And then when that happened, the connections all started happening.
I like that. There is something about going down into a basement where you're taking a chance. And I appreciate that because I've got a very, very small basement. I've only seen pictures of David's and his videos, obviously. But, my basement in comparison is a tiny, tiny basement. And all I've got down there are small rocks and bottles of sand that I've taken from the locations that I've been to. So I tell people, do you want to come down to the basement and see my rocks? And some people say yes, which is also quite worrying. But I can tell there is a certain amount of fear bubbling away under the surface when they go down in the basement.
Well, yeah. It was a safe environment, though. You walked in, as soon as you saw me, the literary Bond comment, I can walk you in. He introduced you to his wife, his daughter, and there's a few others there. People, Joe Darlington, some others I didn't even know yet. So it was like, okay, I feel pretty safe. This is pretty good. And it's a very, very nicely done house. And you go to the basement, it's like, wow, decorated. It's a good size. It's like a Z shape. So each section is a different movie. So it's got it all broken down by each area. So you walk through. I think you walk into Goldfinger at first. And then from there, and you just, and he leaves you there by yourself. Other people come down, you're hanging out. He's like, play whatever you want. So when he came down, I had on the one of the coats. I'm putting on clothes and stuff. Okay, those guns and watches are nice. Well, I got to try on this.
You leave with 10 layers on. Thanks, David. I've had a great time.
Yeah.
Great. Oh, I like the sound of that.
It's a great story.
Yeah. Thomas, you got a collection that people would come see? You got a basement?
Not that anyone knows about.
No, nothing. Just come see a couple of ties and some Boston socks, hats. I don't know where I'm going.
White socks, yes, I realise. No, I'll just send emails to all of you with in the header. Would you like to come to my dungeon?
I don't know if it's really a dungeon. A dungeon sounds like something completely different. It does sound like a collection or basement. I think is probably the better word. Saying that, do you want to come down to my dungeon? Well, that
word was used earlier.
Yeah, if that's a profiling question, if they say yes to that, then you're in trouble. Well, anyway, Scalextrics, it's great. I do think they need to bring out some better cars, like the Renault 11 from A View to a Kill. Just half of it.
Scraping along the track.
I was wondering about the remote control BMW because I'm like, that's the remote control car.
Oh yeah,
I love the remote control that.
Yeah. That'd be a good shout. Or
the red Mustang with the Mach 3, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Or you could have Scalextrics Bond horses. You see these Scalextrics horses.
Oh yeah.
You could have Pegasus would be there. Inferno, and that's it.
So the Icarus is referred to as the Colt. So,
well, how about the 1930s BMW painted in battleship gray? Go right to the book, the original.
Oh, the book Scalextrics cars, Mike. That's why you get paid the big bucks. I'm patching you through to the 007 store straight after this. They know my name, which we established the other day. Dan, let's move swiftly on.
Right. So other news that we found. So two Bond brands, Aston Martin and Globetrotter. So the Aston Martin Formula One team have now got Globetrotter as their luxury luggage partner. So Globetrotter are going to be bringing out a range of luggage inspired by the Aston Martin F1 team. I've not seen anything yet. I've had a quick look on their website. It is just sort of give us your email, we'll send you details. But this image, I actually quite like the look of the luggage in terms of the British Racing Green. I think that they've used here. I think it looks quite nice. I know that the No Time to Die luggage was also a green, ocean green from memory, but I could be wrong on that. But I think it's quite a nice colour.
Well, you know what it's like when you pop down to Brighton in your Formula One car. You need some decent cases to put in your boot. Oh, no, wait a minute. You can't do that at all with this. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Thomas, are you on board with this?
I mean, I wouldn't mind one of the suitcases or one of the Formula One cars.
Mm,
If someone were to give it to me, I'd be quite happy.
sure.
I'd just be happy with any of the cars that Aston Martin have if they want to just give me or loan me for, you know.
Do you work in Aston Martin? Comment down below.
Mike, have you got a connection to Aston Martin at all?
No. I wish. I don't have the courage to just go down to the Aston Martin dealer and just say, "Oh, I like to test drive one." As I pull up on my Miata, I don't know if they would think I'm really thinking of it.
Well, first
go
off,
in
they'd be like,
suited-
what are you doing in the Formula One pit, in Monaco, Mike? That's what I want to know. How did you get past security first up? But yeah, it is quite. It's bananas. I remember when Globetrotter brought out the first No Time to Die cases, and I think a friend of mine bought the cases, but they didn't fit into his Aston Martin. Now I can't remember exactly what Aston Martin he had. I think maybe like a Vanquish. I can't remember what it was, but Globetrotter design cases that don't go into Aston Martins. So beware.
That's another modification
rich
from
people.
Q Branch.
Yeah.
That's funny because they make suitcases that fit exactly into the back of my Miata.
They do.
Every
Wow.
nook and cranny. It's like 4 pieces. They fit in everywhere, and one behind your head, so they take every bit of space you have.
They are great suitcases, though. I mean, I did go down to Globetrotter, and they gave you a long speech about how this is a suitcase for life. If it breaks, and you bring it back, and they mend it, and it's I'm on board with the brand.
I mean, can I chip in? Rob Brydon talks about that, about having a bag for life, and he's like, I don't know if my job's for life, if my house is for life. I don't know what I have in my life that's for life, but my bag.
It's too much investment. I would say.
This is like a little fetish of mine. I've got a couple of, everyone has little toys, right? So I've got. I can't go. Well, anyway, I've got this one, and I took it apart, and in the back behind the seats is luggage. So I wanted to paint the interiors, not just that black plastic. So I tried to make a point to paint the luggage in the back to look like Globetrotters. I don't know if I was super successful at it, but I made the attempt.
I love that. Ken was saying something about, what was he saying in the comments there, Dan, that they make Aston trunks are really more designed for Bell jetpacks. Hey, actually, I've got it to hand here.
What, the jetpack?
No, not a jetpack. Mike, you'll dig this. Hold on.
There you go.
The bag that Q rocks up. This is no good for pod, by the way, but for YouTube, this is the bag that Q rocks up to in Furies Only, I think, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
the British Airways retro bag.
Major Boothroyd.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I found one of the vintage store ones, and I kicked myself for not buying it.
Oh yeah.
I have a Pan Am bag, but I don't have the BOAC.
That's right. I think that's how we first connected, Mike. That's how we first fell in love. It was over like this vintage bag forum, wasn't it?
Oh yeah. It's a modern replica, but boy, it is tough. They really, didn't scrimp on the materials. Right. So whenever I travel in an airplane, I always carry it with me. And it's funny because I always get stopped. People will be saying things like, "Oh, I thought they're out of business." Or the air crews, when you get on board, as you're boarding the plane, you got your Pan Am. They're like, "Oh my God, the good old days."
Do you know what's funny is that whenever I do get compliments on that bag a hell of a lot of time when I take it out, but then I ruin it because I go, "Oh, that's a great bag." I go, "Yeah, this is the one that Q wears when he rocks up in Furies Only and sees." Roger, and then but I could already see them tuning out by the time I'm halfway into the explanation, and I've just ruined whatever coolness that I might have struck up in that first 5 seconds.
You gotta make sure the wife's not around when I start talking like that.
Yeah. No. Dan, we had Sam Smith next, but I don't know. I think we're gonna give that a dodge.
Yeah, we'll talk about that another time.
Yeah.
What is it?
Well, it's an inflatable latex suit that he wore to the Brit Awards.
Why?
Well, that's okay. All right.
That's the question.
That is the question. Now, everybody's been comparing it to, and quite rightly so, Kananga's suit that he gets inflated in and goes up and gets explodes. So it's picture that in your mind's eye if you haven't seen it. That's what it looks like. And And someone else commented that it looks like Darth Vader's hemorrhoids, which I think is probably the best one that I heard. I can't remember who said that. I wish I pulled that name out.
It's like a Kananga body covered with oil. We can mix a couple of movies together on this one.
Yeah, you can blend them together. Thomas, will you be investing? Will you be buying one of these?
I think it's like when you jump into the swimming pool and your trunks, they fill with air. But yeah, I mean, if I couldn't afford a whole bouncy castle, then I guess you got your one bouncy castle.
Exactly, you'll get one of these. Well, look, so Dan, you had thoughts?
No, I have no thoughts on this.
You have no thoughts on this. Okay,
no thoughts.
Great.
On
well,
this.
I'm glad we prepare and do all the show notes. Anyway, so my only thought on this when I saw it was Freddie Mercury left his house in a vest and a pair of faded Wrangler jeans and a studded belt, and then went to play Live Aid. He left the house wearing that and went on stage wearing that and played probably one of the best gigs of all time. And I'm thinking nowadays we couldn't be any further away from that. This is like if someone showed you this in the 1980s when Freddie Mercury was about to go on stage, they're like, I have no idea what's going on 50 years in the future or whatever it is, but it's fucked up. I just think the more you are talking about somebody's outfit, the less you are talking about their music. And I can't tell you what the gig was like. I can't even tell you more than 2 or 3 Sam Smith songs outside of Writing on the Wall and the other one that he got sued for. And I'm not saying that's probably an age thing, but it can't be good if all we're talking about is what you wore on the front cover of GQ rather than what you created and what you sung. And maybe that's because what you created and what you sung wasn't that good. My opinions, other opinions vary. I want to get to something else. We've got, crikey, we're running out of time, aren't we, Dan?
Already, yeah. Do you want to do prop store or bargain box?
Okay. Let's do prop store because we've got some prop store. We'll shoot through these. Prop store have released some James Bond memorabilia. I think you can get hold of this during February 13th to March the 1st. This auction is running to. So I asked everybody in the group to have a look, see which items they'd pick out. What have we got here? James Bond, License to Kill. Oh, Felix Leiter's wedding confetti. I love this. So starting bid is $200. They reckon it will go for at least double that. Yeah. But the reason why I like this, because I'm hoping that it's used. And if this is 80s used confetti in Key West, there's got to be about 30 or 40 fag butts in there as well, all scooped up and put in one box. And so I'm definitely on board with this. Mike, what did you pick up?
I went for the Fleming bust and there you go, and the Moreland cigarette box. I like both of them. I thought it was great.
Nice. Where would that go in your home?
Maybe on the bureau overlooking the bed.
It's the first thing you see. Maybe in the bed.
In his own pillow.
The replica cigarette box. So his cigarette box and a replica of that. That is really good. I do like that.
Yeah.
But do you smoke, Mike?
Only cigars, and not all the time.
That's right.
Maybe every month or every couple of weeks. Usually with people, I won't sit around and smoke it myself. I'll be out with a group and we'll have cigars. You'll
be with Bud West, right, in the cigar community. I see you on the live streams with him.
Yeah, he ran a great one at the Gatherall in December. It was like something he put together. It was great. A lot of people came together. You actually had time with each other. A smaller group smoking. I brought the Harper bourbon as per the books, so we were sipping at that. And then he has his one. Actually, he set up this next get together in my neighborhood. So he beat me to it, my own neighborhood. So I'm actually kind of, I guess you say, managing, pulling all the people together and tracking it all, managing it. I'm looking forward to that.
How far away from you is Bud?
Bud's a good, I'd say about at least 3 hours away, because he's down in Virginia, and the traffic from there up to here is really serious stuff. But I think he's going to come up here and stick around.
Yeah. He's got a great voice for his podcast, the Bond Brain, but I also really dig his man cave because he's got the mics, everything's set up.
Yeah. I remember when you redid that, right? They painted the blue walls. It's perfect. I may not be able to get down to visit him yet.
Yeah, he's got a great hub going on down there. Thomas.
Another dungeon.
Another dungeon. The Bond dungeons.
Come on down. Come
down. Joe Darlington's down here. He's been here for 20 years.
We're going to play some games.
Jesus Christ. Is this Thomas's one? What we got here?
This is Thomas's pick, yes.
Thomas, what did you pick?
I picked the License to Kill 1989 production used script. Probably influenced by listening to Bill Koenig from time to time and how he seems to go into these top secret vaults and warehouses and I don't know about dungeons, but it seems to retrieve all these early iterations of scripts, and it's really interesting how it goes through like multiple iterations. I think you know that I'm a Star Wars fan as well, so for Star Wars, like anytime there's something weird in the script, you can generally boil it down to George Lucas liked it. And that's the end of it. Whereas for Bond, I'm fascinated by how many people are involved and how many weird changes happen as it's like a game of, I think Americans call it telephone, the game Chinese Whispers. And it does sound like that's how Bond scripts are sometimes written. So yeah, one of my favorite films. That's how I'd like to spend my evenings.
Like it. Yeah, there's a university that's got the Maybaum scripts, right? That Koenig talks about. Bill, I can't remember the name of the university, but they've got them all down there in the archives.
Yeah, and he seems to have access to them, and I just think that's really cool to see the film scripts like as they go through iterations.
I would like it if they turned a few pages and Timmy Dalton's like drawn a pair of bollocks or something. Just one of his doodles. It's like, well, that only adds value. That only adds value. Dan, did you pick one?
Yeah, and I picked this based on. I think I remember you talking about American Psycho, about the quality of the business card, and there's 2 business cards here, and they say that that's the same in ivory with grey writing, but they look different to me on the photo they've used. It's like what, and I was just wondering if it's like 2 different versions of the card, just trying to pick out which quality of paper stock to use.
Vespa Lynn's treasury business cards we're looking at here. That's bone. Raised lettering. Got the watermark. Yeah, so Patrick Bateman's, his business card had the misspelling of acquisitions. So that's why those are famous and quite sought after. But I don't think these... I think the spelling's okay on these. They must have put it...
Yeah. There's not too much on there.
It's pretty good. So you'd go for these. These are going for 150 sheets. Mike, would you be bidding on these once you've won the bust?
No. Some stuff is like just a little too trivial. It'd be nice, but I want the bust.
Next time, yeah.
I'd be bidding on that big time.
I think we need to scoot on to... I know, I love it. Actually, I tell you what, when Mike was... when I was emailing Mike, he goes, I've blocked out 2 hours for you. Jesus Christ, Mike. I don't know if I can talk about Bond Croc submarines for 2 hours, but yeah, we'll give it a go. But anyway, we normally try and keep it to a tight 30. We're running over, but let's get to some Bond bargain stuff, shall we?
How much should it fetch? 250, 300,000 pounds. Anything more, we're crazy. Property of a lady.
Okay, let's do it. Well, first up, we have, and I think this is on eBay, we have got a Corgi toy, James Bond's Goldfinger Aston Martin DB5. Now, it looks like it's just come out of a fire wreck. I mean, it's battered. It's apparently everything's working, like the pop-out guns, the ejector seat is working, even though there's no roof. It looks quite disheveled. Thomas, you're going to be up against Mike here playing this one. So what's your bid?
£12.
£12. Okay, wait. I'm going to write these down because you're going to be the winner. Is going to be like done by how much you're out, if that makes sense. Mike.
Well, knowing those crazy collectors out there, I'll shoot for £20.
£20 for this. What have we got, Dan? Can't put a price on this, or can you? Yes. £10.
£10 starting
Oh.
bid from this one.
You know what, though? We should have just said it was a starting bid. Doesn't matter. The game's very fast and loose with the rules. Next, the Roger Moore adventure book, Action, Excitement, and True Life Adventure by Television's Saint. There's a beautiful picture of Roger there looking sideways on the front. We'll go to you first on this one, Mike. How much do you think people are going to pay for this one?
That is interesting. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Right?
Starting bid, right?
Yeah.
I would go. I would start it at £10.
£10 for Mike. Thomas.
I know a few people who collect stuff like this, so I'd start off with say 50. I think 50 is a good starter for this.
50.
Yeah,
Okay.
they go for crazy money. These old annuals.
Yeah, 50 for Thomas. So what have we got there, Dan?
$12.99 for sale.
Oh,
$12.99. Oh, Mike, you're right back in it. I think that's blown you out of the water there, Thomas. I'm sorry, but
tell my friends about this one.
I think we're going into the final round, and I think Mike is very much in the driving seat here. But what have we got on the final round? Sean Connery memorabilia. This looks weird. I don't know what this is, but it's an impressive. Dan, can you read that? We always do this, and the writing's tiny. I can never read this shit.
Yeah, impressive fossilized sculpture of ancient piece of wood, burned beneath the sea for eons. It was purchased by Sean Connery in Mexico while filming there, aided by his personal assistant and stand-in Roy Everson, now deceased. Sean Connery gifted to Roy, and when Roy died, I was engaged by his son Richard to sell lots for Roy film memorabilia.
All right. Okay. So this was a
It
gift that
stands
Sean
60
Connery gave someone else.
Yeah, 60 centimeters tall.
Got it. Yeah. It's just a bit of wood,
Basically on a stand.
That Sean Connery's had his hands on. So I think it's Thomas. You're first, aren't you, on this one?
I should go to my original £12 suggestion for a bit of wood.
£12.
£12.
But Thomas, Sean Connery's fingers have graced this beautiful whatever bit of wood it is. Mike.
£11.
Maybe he tossed his hat onto it when he came in the house. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's fossilized, so I'm thinking it's hard, almost like a sculpture, like a stone-like at this point. I don't like ancient stuff. I'm gonna say I would start it at £50.
£50, 50 sheets. What have we got there, Dan?
£270.
I don't even have to do the workings out here, Thomas. I'm afraid
It's more than 12.
Yeah, I think your number's up. Mike, the newcomer, has blown you out of the water here on Bargain Bond, but thanks for playing. Well, let's get on with our live, shall we? Round this up. And we've got the answer. Thank you for reminding me, Dan. The answer to this week's trivia question. Do you mind reading out the question and the answer this time, Mike, please?
You open the envelope. All right.
Envelope.
Little long-winded, but it's right out of the book. I wish I had the Bond brain voice. Bond always disliked pajamas and slept naked. That's one.
Oh.
Until in Hong Kong at the end of the war, he came across the perfect compromise: a pajama coat which came almost to his knees. And I think he wore that on the beach also in Casino Royale.
Nice. Thomas, you're more of a naked man? No, don't tell me that.
I should send you the watercolor later.
Thank you. So long as it's the watercolor and not the actual photo, that would be great. Well, what I wanted to do as we wrap things up, we gave your channel a shout out last time, Mike, and I thought it's good actually to give other channels a shout out because we all follow everyone in the community, but there might be some that could be unsung or slightly undersung than others. Dan, did you have any channels that you follow or any social streams?
I was thinking of one just a minute ago, and the stream, the Instagram, mostly I follow, would be I think it's My Bond Life. He posts pictures of different bargain or frugal Bond items where he tries to compare it to scenes from the films. So I'll give him a shout.
Nice. And give yourself a shout out, Dan. Where can
Yeah,
people find
I'm
you?
at Daniel Gaster on Instagram, where I post pictures of me in clothes, or sometimes for the articles that I write for your blog, Pete.
Fantastic. Doing the Lord's work. Hey, Jane Seymour's just liked a message. God bless her. Happy birthday, Jane Seymour. I'm going to go out and have a drink tonight on the back of that. Sorry, I was just trying to find your social channel and I realized Jane Seymour's messaging me. Name dropping. Mike, who would you like to give a shout out to? You follow someone that you think deserves a bit of airtime?
Oh, wow. There's so many. I tend to, on YouTube, I'm always at the David Zaritsky.
Mm-hmm.
So to the point where I fall behind. I'm already like a couple behind. I'm trying to watch his Valentine's Day for, people who are married to Bond fans for Valentine's Day. And it's like, okay, I got 10 minutes into it. I'm too busy. But Instagram really ruins it for me because I do most of it on Instagram and you totally get feeds all the time. I always see Fleming Never Dies. Trying to think who's in the biggies. The Bond Brain, of course. No, it's just so many. There's so many out there. I can't pick anyone out.
The thing is with David, because he is so prolific and he's up at 2 a.m. and doing so many videos, I actually allot my 20-minute Peloton time to David and watch his videos. But if he does like an hour and a half's worth of video, I'm not going to get to see all of that in a week. So he does like 2 videos a week. So I've got like a backlog. He needs to do more like YouTube shorts, like 2 or 3 minutes long.
Yeah. It's like podcasts. You go in and they're like an hour and a half where they discuss a movie. It's like, how can your podcast be longer than the movie actually was? It's like, I don't have much time. If I was driving, commuting, I could, listen on the way, but I work from home.
Yeah. Game changer. Thomas.
An account.
Oh, sorry. Mike, give yourself a plug. Sorry, Thomas. Give yourself a plug over there.
Yeah, and I should have put it down next to my name. I didn't think about that. But yeah, I'm the culture of Bond. And it's funny because I won't say it's super in-depth, but I find ways up to post almost every single day. Could be little things, could be bigger. I always want to say I'm going to expand out to a blog or something. I want to definitely get into videos. Just to let you all know, I am so close to retirement. I'm thinking of all this free time I will spend on this hobby and really waste my time now.
I can't wait.
You're going to be really dangerous when that happens.
Yeah, I have to, because my wife said, "What are you doing? You can't sit around the house doing nothing." I'm doing something.
How come Bud's moved in? Thomas, over to you. Sorry, mate, I cut you off.
No. I've been following Culture of Bond since I lived in China, so it's been quite a while now. An account I really enjoy is Flooring of Bond. Not just because he mocked up a new image for my podcast. But no, it's a good fun account if ever you've looked at the floor in a James Bond film and wanted to know what kind of floor it is. Then this is your answer. It's a great fun account.
Yeah, he's really good.
Right? When I saw it come up, I was like, who would have thought the floor?
And Ken Stoffer from Oceanographer is saying, Mike, you've got enough stories for a daily podcast. I'd settle for some daily Mike in my life. And give yourself a plug. Thomas, what's going on at the moment?
So my podcast is Albion Never Dies, or British Culture Albion Never Dies for the full name. And I'm doing the alphabet of Britishness. This month is T. And so this week was what T is for tea. As well as Tower of London and technology, and somebody actually wrote in a poem about me, which I read out. So,
wow.
thank you to that person.
Okay,
best poem about me written in the last 10 days, I'd say.
You've arrived when someone's written a poem about you. That's what I always say.
Is it a limerick?
No, it was in the style of Rudyard Kipling, which is one of my favorite poets. So.
God, power move.
Yeah.
I'm gonna submit a dirty limerick to the next. That was for limerick. Wait, when you get to that, I'm all in. I'm gonna
named.
Yeah, I'm gonna quickly give this channel a shout out. It's on Facebook. It's the James Bond 007, the Daily Moonraker 44th anniversary. I don't know the exact handle, but if you put in James Bond, the Daily Moonraker, they post all sorts of cool stuff, from posters, like foreign posters, to stills and like behind the scenes stuff. basically anything and everything Moonraker, and it's a lot of fun to see everybody so committed to that film, a cult classic. And that's probably been it from us. Thanks for joining us, Dan, for producing the show over there, Mike for jumping on and committing. At least, well, now that I know you've got 2 hours, Mike, I'll just give you a call after this, and we'll shoot the breeze for an hour. Thomas, thanks for jumping on, for not reading the show notes and turning up in the weird disguise you got there. But I dig it. And until next time.